On December 13th, Google pushed a camera app update onto my phone, my Google Pixel 6 phone. And this camera app update was pretty cool. It decreased the noise in the video, and it improved the stabilization slightly. And it also gave me focus lock in video mode, which is that gold box and the lock in the center of the frame. So I did a video a few days ago about shooting at night with this video focus lock, and I thought I'd maybe shoot a video in the daytime to help explain it a bit more. So the deal is, we're shooting with screen recorder now, so you should be able to see exactly what I can see. That's why I see all those controls on the image. We're also shooting in 4K as well, so I can switch between the two in post. So the deal is, here's how you operate. You gotta push on the screen, and then what happens when you push on the screen, you'll get these sliders. That's a slider for exposure and a slider for white balance. And then little twirly things on the left hand side, you push them and then they're on auto. So like, let's say we got here the exposure. This little half circle appears. You press on it, now it's on auto exposure. You got your white balance. And you get the twirly circle, it's locked. You push on it, now it's on auto. So now it's hunting. It's hunting for focus because it's in autofocus. And so this is how come this video focus lock is cool, because you could see it keeps hunting and keeps hunting because it's on the clouds. Now it doesn't always do that, because if it's focusing on the city, it's going to grab on the buildings and lock, right? But sometimes it's just going to hunt on you and you want to lock it up. So what you can do is you push on it with your finger and you lock it. Now you got these exposure sliders, and you can set those to if you want. I'm going to set it to auto, so I'm going to push on that half circle. So now we got auto exposure, auto white balance, but the focus is locked. Here's the other thing to remember. Now that you've got that focus lock box, the exposure will be center weighted around that box. So if you raise it in the air to the sky, exposure will darken. You lower it, it's going to get brighter because you're inside the city. But here is a more dramatic example of it. Locked on the sky. So the sky is better exposed. The building's a bit darker, but when we pan over to the building, it's going to be brighter because we're in auto exposure. And when we pan to the sky and the box hits that sky, it's going to get darker, right? So now let's say we think that maybe the building's a better value. We're going to press on the building again. We're going to lock it for focus. And we're going to touch this exposure slider. So there you have kind of a middle of the road exposure. Now the twirly thing on the left hand side, the half circle, is visible. So that means it's locked. So now when we pan, everything's locked up. So the white balance is still moving, but the focus and the exposure are locked. And now, let's say we think, okay, this is too dark, we have to push on it again, lock it, and then you get your exposure slider, and you can also hit it, like you can hit the twirly thing and zero it out, which is a good idea, then start from the zero position. So for static shots, it's great. You can lock down the focus, you can lock down the exposure, white balance too if you want to. Usually it's pretty good with white balance. And away you go. When you're moving and when you're walking, I usually like to, it's usually just maybe use the lockbox, but keep the exposure auto. and keep the white balance auto, and then I'll just keep an eye on the exposure with my just eyeball it, and then if I feel that the exposure is misbehaving, then maybe I'll just repress on the screen. Like I'll press on a part of the screen that is giving a good value for both exposure and focus. But it's just really helpful for people who are keeners, like YouTubers, creators who want more control of their image. If you wanted to do something like this and you wanted to lock on a person's face in the foreground or this ledge, you lock it up. It's locked. Now it's not going to move on you. Like let's say you were doing some product thing or whatever. Then you can let it go. That's completely auto. Everything's auto now. It's got that little white circle, but that little white circle, it kind of jumps around wherever the hell it wants to jump. It does whatever it wants to. But anyways, I think it's really cool. I think it's really helpful. It's a good idea. And I'm glad that Google added it. And it's giving the video portion of the camera app more attention. It's a really cool idea. And yeah, it's just makes a good camera app better.